Hi, and welcome to Matt Holman Talks Mental Health, the podcast where I have the opportunity to sit down and talk to amazing humans about their journeys with mental health. For this episode, I'm so happy to introduce Hansa to the conversation. Hi, Hansa.
Hi, Matt. Thank you for being here. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. It's lovely to see you and actually to meet you for the first time in person. Well, virtually in person, I guess. I'll do a brief introduction because I don't know too much about you, which is good, actually, in lots of ways. And then I'll let you share all about you and what you do. So Hansa and I have connected through social media, which, as I've always say, tends to be a media that I use a lot with connecting with people. But we've shared a few ideas, thoughts, conversations. I've heard part of Hansa's story, and I think it's just incredible. The work she's doing is just amazing. So very supportive of the thoughts and the conversations that she's sharing, and she will share through this podcast. So Hansa, welcome. Please do introduce yourself properly.
It's great to be here. Thanks for having me, Matt. I feel very privileged. So I'm Hansa and I'm founder of Holding Space. A little bit about me. I'm a nurse by background. So I nursed for most of my life and then had three beautiful children. I've got twins who are now 18, girl and boy twins are 18. When did that happen? And a 16-year-old. Did various jobs and worked for a charity before. And then took the leap of faith 18 months ago and launched the charity Holding Space, which was like, wow. And it's been an amazing journey, an incredible journey. Lots of tears, lots of laughs, lots of, roller coasters, but we're still going 18 months later.
Amazing. And 18 months through a pandemic as well, of course, which, has been quite a big part of that, I'm sure. We'll talk about that a little bit as well, because I know, from my understanding of what you do, it's incredible. And I'm going to get you to share that story and that journey itself. But let's start with the big question, which is the one that I always ask in this. Your journey with mental health, Hansa. You define what it means to you. The question's that simple, but you bring a story to life and you just share where you've been, where you're going, what's going on, really. So over to you. I'll leave it with you.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you. So the reason I'm a parent with lived experience. So my daughter was struggling with her mental health and we're still on a journey with her. And it was a real roller coaster. Our lives were just turned upside down. Even with my nursing background, I didn't know what was wrong. I didn't know what was happening. I didn't know how to deal with it, really. I didn't know how to support her. And I just found as a parent, it was just a very, very lonely journey. I didn't know where to get support. Who do you talk to? There's this whole stigma, still, as we both know, around mental health. And particularly when it's your child, I think as parents, we are very, very judgmental, especially that school playground kind of mentality. And it's not the kind of conversation you can just bring up. My daughter's self-harming, she's suicidal, and she's depressed. You can see it in people's faces, can't you? They just don't know what to say. They don't know how to support you. So it was through that journey, really, and that experience, and going through therapy myself. I think that was a big part of it. Is I blamed myself. I thought I was the worst parent in the world, even though my two kids were okay. You just do blame yourself. You want the best for your children. You want them to be happy, but somehow I just couldn't do that. I wasn't doing whatever I was doing wasn't working, kind of thing. So through therapy and through my own healing, through understanding myself, I think I did have postnatal depression when I had my third child as well, and that wasn't picked up and that wasn't recognised. And there's a lot my therapist has taught me through I don't know whether people believe in it, but the generational things that go on through families. I think it kind of hit our family. I had to do the work to release that. So I kind of felt we can't, we got no support. Yeah. No support at all. We didn't get support. We didn't get any support. It was, my daughter kind of made a lot of allegations against me, which they believed her, but never listened to my side of the story. So it wasn't just the mental health. It was everything that she was telling the services as well. And my voice wasn't heard at all. I was almost pushed out of that journey. I was pushed out of that care pathway, whatever you want to call it. And no one believed me. No one actually believed what was, she was fine with friends. She was fine outside of the house. As soon as that door shut, it was really hard to get people to understand and believe what was happening in the house. And we have a lot of parents say that, it's those evenings, it's we know that, don't we? They keep all their emotions at school, and they keep it all, and we know the minute they come home, it's that safe space, and they just explode. But it's really hard as a parent to manage that, and to know how to manage it as well. So it was through that journey, a really, really difficult journey with her. I haven't seen my daughter for 4 years now. She's now 18, and she doesn't want me in her life. And that's something that we as a family have had to deal with. Her twin brother, both her brothers have had to deal with. Yeah. So, it's been very traumatic for all of us. And I just got to a stage where I thought, we can't be the only family going through this. This is not right. There has to be support out there. There has to be that parent support out there. So as I said earlier, I left my job and I took the leap of faith, and I launched Holding Space, not knowing what was going to happen, not knowing who would connect. It's taken me 4 years to tell my story, and there's still parts of my story I don't tell, because I don't believe it's all my story. There's her story as well. I can only give you my part, and it's taken a lot of courage, a lot of healing, to be in the right space, to be here with you today, to tell that story. And I really hope that by listening to this, other parents will be able to take that first step. I know how hard it is. Yeah. Believe me, I didn't talk to friends, we didn't talk to family, I didn't talk to anyone. I was ashamed, I think. I was really ashamed of what was going on, ashamed of my own parenting. So I hope by doing this, it will just empower other parents to come forward and to get the support that they need. And that's what Holding Space is. It's giving parents that voice, parents, carers, that voice to be heard, to be listened to. Yeah. And for me, just to know they're not alone. And to know, I say to all our families, I haven't got the answers. I can't change your journey. You can't change my journey, but I get it. Yeah. I actually really, really get it. And I think that's some of the most powerful words we can ever say to somebody, and just hold that space for them. And I believe that's what we do through Holding Space. And just another parent to say, I understand what you're going through. It's okay. And it's not your parenting style. I was told it was my parenting style. Being told to go on a parenting course, and every family that's come through our doors now, I think, has said that to me. And it's not. We've got to stop judging parents. We've got to stop telling them that they've got it wrong or it's their parenting style. Like a physical illness, it's an illness. Our kids have got a mental illness, and we need to be given the strategies to support them. The information, the knowledge, the strategies to support our children, just as you would with a physical disability or a physical illness. And that's what I want to do. I want to empower parents, and I want to empower families. If I had half the knowledge that I've got now and learned so much, I don't know if my journey would change, Matt. I don't know. We nobody knows that. But I wish I had that support. I wish I had somebody there that I could turn to, that could just listen, that could give me some strategies just to help me cope at home when times are really, really bad, and give me the space. We were talking earlier about that self-care and looking after yourself, and we don't as parents, whether your child's ill or not, we just don't as parents. We want the best for our kids. We're always so busy looking after them and everything. Self-care, we've got to make that a priority. I think it should be part of when you're either pregnant or part of parenting. That they teach you, or they give you that almost permission. It's okay to look after yourself. So Holding Space is a local charity. We're based in Eastbourne. We cover the whole of East Sussex, but the way I describe it is a safe, non-judgmental space for parents to come together and support one another, and to know that they're not alone when their child is struggling, or if you're struggling as a parent, and to know there's a community, build that community up, and let's open those conversations up. And also let's stop this rise in mental illness, that when let's stop kids getting to a crisis point before they get the support. Early intervention is so important, and that's what we provide. I've got an amazing team of counsellors in the organisation who've connected with all volunteers, that we can provide that early intervention. We can, and it's not to say the NHS aren't doing their job. I'm not here to bash the NHS. I've worked the NHS, but we know that they're stretched. We know CAMHS is overstretched. They can only do so much. But we've for me, we've got to stop this tide. We've got to stop this rise that kids shouldn't be reaching crisis point before they're asking for help. Get in early. Give them strategies to cope. And help them to understand what's going on, how their brains are working, the effects it's having on them, so that they can cope later on in life. It's giving them the tools, isn't it, for adulthood? For the teenage years are the worst, way, aren't they, with the hormones and everything else.
Yeah.
So let's give them the strategies to cope, and they can take those strategies into their adult life. So they've got a toolbox.
Wow.
Kind of thing. That's what we're about, and I just wish I'd had that support. I really do. And I've met an incredible therapist who's walked with me and continues to walk with me. And couldn't have done it without her. She tells me I do all the work, but couldn't have done it without her.
But it's for us individually, though, isn't it, to do that work? We have, we get the people around us that can help us, but they can't do it. And
no.
That's the challenge, isn't it? I think, as a parent. And Hansa, I just love you. I think you're just because you've got courage, and you're going through a healing process, and you're working on it, and you're doing something absolutely positive towards helping others, and that is a wonderful thing. And this thing about self-care is about, we just need permission. I think we just need to give ourselves permission. That's my attitude to it, right? It's the only person who's responsible for giving permission for self-care is yourself. And as a parent, that is in a very similar situation to the one that you're in with my daughter. It's it is that I wish I knew some of this stuff sooner. I wish I'd been educated on this more, before it ever happened. And I think that's the biggest challenge, is we always look at it when it's at the worst point, to then educate ourselves on how we can support it. Why don't we understand how to stop it from happening in the first place? And that early intervention is vital statement you made. Oh my God, it is such an important part of what we've got going on right now, isn't it?
Definitely.
Because I know, turning up to those sort of workshops and sessions, the things that you run, it then all of a sudden builds that community of understanding of more people are going through that. And there are lots. And for anybody that is listening, as Hansa very clearly states, there's lots of families going through this. And our stories are unique to ourselves, but there's so many similarities with so many others and so many parts of this, right?
And just know you're not alone. If you listen to this, you aren't alone. And for me, it's, you've not done anything wrong. Believe that as a parent, you're doing the best you can. There is no Bible for parenting. We'd be rich if there was, wouldn't there? Somebody would make a fortune. There is no Bible. You do the best that you can, and with the tools that you have. And we're always learning, aren't we, as parents? Our kids teach us so much and stuff. But don't beat yourself up. You have done nothing wrong at all. Your child is struggling. They're ill. They need support just as much as you do. So, if you're listening to this as a parent, be kind to yourself. That's one thing I've learned to do, is be kind to myself, and to know that I'm not alone. And to know, we'll get it wrong. Of course we do. In anything in life, you're not perfect. So, of course, you're going to get it wrong, but you're going to get it right. And it's a journey. And that's what you're on. You're on a journey with your child, and the support is out there. I hope there's more and more support out there. And for any parent, if you're not even in the area, just get in touch with us. We will, there's someone to listen. That's the main thing. Wherever you are, wherever you're listening to this, there's somebody that'll always listen to you.
So Hansa, I've got to ask you this question. I need to understand, how did you get to a point of creating a charity from the trauma, from the experience you were going through? What changed? How did you make that happen? Because I find I've had a couple of these podcasts where I've spoken to people who have done exactly that, and it's often born out of this sort of crisis. And what happened? I need to understand this journey, and I'm sure everybody's wondering, how did you go from supporting a very sick, mentally unwell child to launching a charity that's helping adults and parents and carers? How do you do that?
Oh gosh, I think passion. I think I don't want anyone to ever go through what we went through. And I said to you, sadly, I have no contact with my daughter, and I haven't seen her for 4 years, and we are still on that journey, and it's been a massive trauma. I'm hoping my story's fairly unique. I don't think it's completely unique. I'd love to know if there are other parents. Actually, I've never found anyone that's been on this journey and as extreme as we have. So if you're listening to this, you have, please do connect with me, because that's one thing I am missing on my journey, something that gets the journey I've been on. But I didn't want anyone to go through what we've been through. I really didn't. I didn't want any family to struggle, any siblings to struggle. You know, my other kids got no support at all, and they've been up through a trauma as well, but who supports them? So, you know, it's massive. So I think that's, and through sitting through my therapy and my healing, that's what drove me. It was the parent voice. The parent voice has to be heard. We've got to bring parents into this journey, and you know, we know our kids better than anyone, you know, and we've got to listen to parents.
Yep.
Yeah, I suppose that's what drove me really, is I wanted to reach out to one family. If I could make a difference to one family, I'd done what I set out to do. And I think 300 odd families later, and we're still going, really.
Amazing.
I'd always had the vision that I wanted to be a charity. I don't know why, maybe I've been working in the charity field, but I've always wanted to be a charity. And that's been hard work, really hard work to go through that process. I think it took us about 8 months, but it was my vision from day one. It was always going to be a charity, and I wanted to take the burden off families, especially when it came to things like counselling and getting the support. You know, counselling isn't cheap. We know private counselling isn't cheap. You know, where do you go? Who do you go to? Where, you know, I wanted to bring all these amazing people together that were working in mental health, whether that was adult or child mental health, to say, let's bring it all under one roof. You know, I you know, again, having worked in the field, I still didn't know where to get support. I didn't know where the information was. Now, if I don't know and I've worked in the field, Joe Bob's out there hasn't got a clue where to start. So I wanted to build this model where it was all under one roof, where you could come in and get the information, get the support, get the counselling, but take that burden off families. And by being a charity, hopefully we can offer, well, we do offer low-cost counselling. We offer as much as we can for free. And as non-profit, because then you can just concentrate on yourself and your family if we put the support system in. And that's why charity is really important to me, and just my passion, and my experience to say no family should go through what we went through at all. And I was delighted. You know, 2 weeks ago we got our registration, and we got our charity status. Really proud of that moment, and really proud of the team. And it's been hard, Matt. There's times I've wanted to give up. There's times where you think, what am I doing? You know, and it's, you know, just that passion and that vision drives me. And I know the difference we're making. I know the difference not I'm making, the team are making. Again, I'm incredibly lucky with the team that have connected with Holding Space and give their all, really, you know, from the professional teams, the volunteers, the trustees. So lucky, you know, and we're making a difference.
You got 300 family reasons to be proud of what you've achieved, you know. That's setting out with that mission to help one family, and look, you've done it 300 times already, and you've only been incorporated as a charity or registered as a charity for a couple of weeks, and oh my gosh, that's a brilliant journey. Well done to you and the team, of course. And it is a team effort, isn't it? But it's, you know, it had to have a driver. You know, every good, you know, thing has to have somebody at the helm of it, and that's it, and that's what you're doing, of course, and it's incredible. What's your I guess it's not really, I know obviously the answer to this, I think, is, you know, what's your ambition? So, you know, with this organization, with this charity, do you want to take it bigger and wider? Is it your intention to find others that want to sort of join that journey? What do you want to do with it?
Yeah, definitely. Holding Space, I want it to be very much parent-led. So I want the parents involved. I want them to shape what Holding Space is, because I know what I needed but it doesn't mean to say that's what every other parent needs. So it's very much that voice of the parent is so important. And I'm hoping the parents that we've supported on this journey will come back and get involved with the charity. My ultimate vision is I want to open a mental health and wellbeing centre, obviously starting in Eastbourne, where it's a safe space and we're offering everything under one roof. So it's not, as you know, it's not just about counselling, it's all the other interventions, that self-care. So whether that's through yoga, whether that's through art, whether it's through music, that helps us with our mental health and well-being. And we've got a range of interventions on offer. As I said to you, we do yoga at the moment. We offer yoga for parents and teenagers. But I want to build that model. We offer counselling. And it is under that safe space. It's having that there's talk, isn't there, in the government at the moment about having, behaviour hubs. We don't need behaviour hubs. We need mental health and wellbeing hubs. We need that positive thing, and that's what I want to open, What is all this behaviour business?
Behaviour hub just sends me cold, because I think it's bad, isn't it? It's like, well, you need to go and improve your behaviour. It's never, your behaviour is so impeccable that you don't need to worry about, it's hard, isn't it?
What's all that about?
Rubbish. What a load of rubbish.
Yeah, so let's open mental health and wellbeing hubs. So we bring in families together. And for me, it's bringing the family together. Again, I don't know about your experience, but a lot of parents will say to us, and just having teenagers normally, that you lose that connection, don't you?
Yeah.
That they feel that they've lost the connection. And so I want to bring families back together again. But by you might be doing a bit of art together.
Yeah.
Not necessarily talking about the mental illness, but you're doing something together, and also offering separate sessions as well. So that's my ultimate vision. And then I'd love to replicate that model, pick it up, because it's not unique to Eastbourne, what I'm doing. There are other parent support groups across the country, and we're part of what's known as the Place Network, which is part of the Charlie Waller Trust.
Right.
So there are amazing parents doing amazing work similar to what I'm doing. I'm not unique in this. Right. So it's been great that we're part of a bigger network as well. But wouldn't it be great if we all had mental health hubs in your area and a team running it, kind of thing?
Oh, it would, and for parents, carers, and for everybody out there, it just keeps reminding me, so much of, we're the people that are often just left aside. It's all focused, all of it's focused on the child, or the, an adult even. It doesn't matter whoever's struggling is the one that has all the focus. And and in our house, we've got this exact situation with our daughter, but we've also got another child as well, like you've got 2 other children. And yet the support's not really there for us. It's only there for the other person. And that is really hard still to sort of, and you said it, for the people outside to understand what to do, to say. And so we sort of fall into similar traps, don't we, of, just constantly asking about the one that's struggling. How are they doing? What's going on for them? How's their, and we don't have the answers to that either. So it's a minefield of challenges for so many people, and connecting to that. And then you've got the immediate family relationships, and then as you sort of come out, you've got grandparents and aunties and uncles, and those who have a vested interest in looking after and supporting the family units. So it's hard.
Definitely, and it has to be, for me, it's, I work from my heart. That's what I just work from my heart. My trustees will go, business planning, I work from my heart. And it's that whole holistic approach. We've got to bring the whole family in, as you say, and I'm in the opposite direction, in a way that nobody asks about my daughter. No one ever mentions her name.
Right.
And that's almost really difficult as well, because she's still my daughter. She's still there.
Yep.
But no one, and I think people are just worried that they're going to upset me. But I think just acknowledging that she is my daughter is so powerful. But you're right, it is. I'm very heart-centered. That's how I work, and holding space has grown organically. I think every project we do, it's 1 minute we're doing it, the next minute, oh, okay, I'm doing this now. And it's just grown organically, and I think we've listened to the needs of our parents. It's what they've asked for. So we've kind of, where funding's allowed, because with every charity we rely on funding. We so far have managed to do it, and as you said, through a pandemic as well. So Yeah, and in a way, the pandemic was good for us because it got our name out there, and schools and organisations were suddenly recognising that support was needed. So,
Okay.
it was that kind of dichotomy of we're going through a pandemic, but for holding space, it was good. But we're just coming out of this. I think we've got a long, long way to go in terms of mental health across the board, but particularly with kids as well. There's so many kids are struggling, and there's a lot of anxiety still out there. We haven't started this journey yet in whatever this new normal is. We've got a long way to go.
Yeah, there is. You're absolutely right. I totally agree with you. There is so much to do. There is so many things. There are so many challenges coming as well with the anxiety and the changes and the restriction changes and everything else, and borders reopening. And oh my days, we could have a whole conversation just about borders reopening, let alone anything else. But it is that realization that we need to put more support there. That ultimately is it, isn't it? It's about support, and support doesn't always mean just the NHS. And I think you're absolutely right when you said that. It's actually one of the best ways to provide support is to become part of the community. So supporting each other in it's almost like care for your neighbours sort of, which we've seen. I don't know about you, I've definitely seen it in the last 12 or 14 months since the pandemic started, that communities have come together and closer in many ways. I know there's obviously some fractions in some areas, but in the world that I live in and work in, it feels like things have come a little bit closer in some of those conversations, maybe. Do you think the same?
Yeah, it has been a great community spirit, hasn't there, throughout this night, and I hope that continues. I really do, that, we learn from this and take the bits and continue to support one another. And I hope, mental health, through social media, conversations are happening more.
Yep.
And I just hope it continues. I really, really do. And there's acknowledgement. I think that's what we need, the acknowledgement that we're all struggling. We've all, the classic saying, isn't it? We've all got mental health. And let's all just,
I love the way you say it's a classic saying. It's like the one that we realize, this old saying that we've all got mental health, and actually people are just starting to understand that we do all have mental health. Yeah. Bizarre, isn't it? It's like, do you know that thing where you've been struggling for the last 12 months? Well, that's your mental health that's in play there, right? Oh, right, okay. Yeah. It's bizarre, isn't it? It's fascinating. Yeah. So Hansa, so we're almost towards the end of this. So bizarrely, we've always burned through 30 minutes. I want to know, you're smiling. You seem to be happy on the camera. Maybe that's because you're talking to me. Maybe that's because you're having a good day. Maybe because the sun started shining through your window. Who knows? What do you do to take care of yourself? Because self-care is so important. It was a conversation we had pre-recording of this as well. What do you do to self-care? And if you tell people you live 5 minutes from the beach, I'm going to be very upset.
There you go. You just answered it for me.
I couldn't help.
I do. I live in sunny Eastbourne, and I literally do live 5 minutes on the beach. And my go-to place is the beach. I love the power of the ocean. I just love walking along the seafront. So I love walking. So I do a lot of that. If I don't see the beach every day, it's kind of, for me. I love reading. Yeah, I absolutely love reading and get lost in a novel and been known to finish a book in a day sometimes. Oh. If I allow myself, which I'm getting better at. Okay. I must say, self-care was never on my agenda. So any parent listening to this, is so, so important. And one thing that always sticks with me is, I'm going off tangent a bit here, but one thing that always sticks with me, something my therapist always said to me. She said, by not looking after yourself, what are you teaching your children? Yeah. Self-care isn't important. If you model self-care, they're going to understand. So teach them now. And that always stuck with me. I thought, I've got to teach them that, and I'm not doing it. So I think I'm better at it now. I just joined a running club because I know you run.
Hey,
so I've literally, and it's taken me 2 years to get to this running club, honestly. But I've joined and I've signed up, and I've blocked my diary out on a Wednesday to start running. Amazing. So I'm hoping that's going to help me. Yeah.
There you go. Well,
and just chilling. And I like to say I love gin. So
you love gin?
It's a bit of self-care. Yeah. I don't know if I say that on here, but I've said it now.
You can say the gym. Not gin. Oh, bless you. Well, you're allowed to do that. It's adult thing. You're allowed to do it. It's absolutely gin. I have no issue. I don't like gin. I don't, but anyway, there we go. Oh, that's brilliant. Well, it's good to hear that in your, I talk to people all the time about having your sort of your little bag of self-care, your toolkit of self-care, and you sound like you got a few things in there. And if nothing else, just going to the beach 5 minutes away I would be very comfortable with just having that in my bag of self-care, because that would make me feel very happy. That's the reality, isn't it? We are at the end. I just want to say a huge thank you. I'm going to pass it over to you just for any final thoughts you've got, Hansa, just to share with anybody any wisdom words that you may have. But just to say a huge thank you from me. The work you're doing is incredible, and look, 300 families so far. That's going to just get bigger and bigger and bigger, and it's a sad reality, but it's a good reality in many ways, that more people will have that support which you're providing through your charity. And I just want to wish you and all of your colleagues within the charity, all those people that selflessly volunteer their time to do that, just amazing luck, and all the very best with everything, and it just flies and goes really well. So thank you for your time. Over to you. Any final thoughts?
Well, thank you. No, thank you for this opportunity. It's been great to connect with you and just chat to you, really. It's been really easy as well, and just get the word out there. Anyone listening to this, just reach out. Honestly, just find someone that you can talk to and reach out and know that you're not alone. I think that's the most important message.
Yeah. Brilliant. You are not alone. And for anybody that is still listening, you definitely remember that. Samaritans obviously exist today to help support any conversations, provide a safe space, a private space, a confidential space, which you can call any time of day, 24/7, 116 123. Or if you're a bit more into texting, then you can text to Shout 85258, which is another really useful resource. But no, you're not on your own. Please don't feel that you have to feel isolated in your thoughts. And from myself, and I'm sure Hansa as well, if you need to want to talk to anybody, if you want to have a chat with us, I'm sure you can get in touch. Thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure, and love talking to you, Hansa, and I wish you all the very best.
Thank you.
Thank you.